Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Levels of Mediocrity, where we watch movies, review them, and rate them in absurd and ridiculous ways. Today we have another movie on display for you, and it is The Black Cauldron by Disney!
Disney, yay!
Oh, yeah, Nathan is here too.
Oh yeah, hi.
Have you ever seen this movie, Nathan?
No, I have not. I have heard about it. I know that it is somewhat infamous in the history of Disney. I know it only in anecdote. I have read about it, but I have never seen it. I know that it's a fantasy film. I know that in the mid-90s, I remember suddenly seeing it advertised on TV thinking it was this new thing, only to find out it was just this long belated release because it had so disappointed Disney financially. They just decided never to release it until some point in the mid to late 90s. They're like, here you go. It ended up being a darker film than I think they had intended. I do know from some research that I did that it was directed by Ted Berman and Richard Rich, the duo that also directed and oversaw The Fox and the Hound. I do know from my research that one of the things that affected the film is you're looking at the first Disney animated film that was given a PG rating. From the stories I've looked up, I remembered it was heavily edited from its initial version because the climax of the film was so dark. There was a screening where children were scared, and so executives panicked and started editing the film down, which I believe is going to cause some pacing or continuity issues. One of the things that gave me pause in wanting to watch this is it is an adaptation of a series of fantasy novels. And anytime you're adapting a book to film, there's always things are going to cut out for time or continuity or content. You're always going to cut things out of the book or collapse and condense things in the book into a series of scenes that aren't as satisfying as the way that you read them. Usually, that's just with one book. I do know that this is actually taking events from the first two novels in the series written by Lloyd Alexander. The series of novels is called the Chronicles of Prydain, so it's not just adapting one book, it's adapting elements from the first two books in the series. So it's cramming 2 books worth of information into one, what's the runtime? 80-minute film.
So I guess we are not expecting too much from this movie, even though it is a Disney film. So they turned a person into a cauldron, and that's what the thing is. But why cauldron? Of all the things you could turn a person into, why cauldron?
Because it's innocuous and maybe someone won't want to mess with something so mundane.
Well, that can't possibly be safe. The little old lady goes to use it. Oh, I'm going to be making my special stew.
The soup tastes rather evil today. I know that face. This is a reused character model from something. He very much looks like Arthur from Sword in the Stone. All your friends have gone to the academy. Oh wait, wrong movie. Don't mess with the geese, man! That is not realistic. I've been attacked by geese. Oh, this spooky forest. All the trees are skulls. Nice layering effect for perspective. Oh, jeez, that actually got me. I will admit the jump scare got me.
Oh no! He blew his one opportunity to rescue the pig. So now they are both trapped.
Yep. You're safe now. I've rescued you.
And that's strike 2. He's now showing him the pig's vision to find the Black Cauldron. That's it. He failed in his one job.
One job. All the things he wasn't supposed to do, he did. Hurry up before Princess Zelda and Navi get away. I know they keep saying his name, I'm just going to call him Link. We keep being introduced to people, but it doesn't feel like we're going anywhere or learning as much as the running time should allow for.
The Black Cauldron is hidden among the others.
You must choose, but choose wisely. Oh, there's more than one witch. It's Hocus Pocus all over again. The sword doesn't even need anybody to hold it in order to fight. The hero! And the guy holding it. I'm sad the magic sword is gone.
Yep. They got the Black Cauldron, but now the bad guys have found them. They should have tried to put a stop to the Black Cauldron when they had the chance.
Now I've found the thing I need.
Because of what they've done, the one thing that they were trying to stop has happened. Good job.
If you had never looked for it to destroy it, it would not now be in the possession of the person you were trying to keep it from. Taran, stop helping the bad guy!
Oh, yeah, wow. I can see how this could freak out some kids.
So you sent them forth to destroy everything, and then you're going to rule everything destroyed? Wait, come back, I didn't think this through! Now you wish you hadn't found it.
Oh, wow.
That's a bit graphic for 1985 children audiences. If only you had a magic sword that could cut through chains.
He asked for Gurgi back in exchange for the cauldron. Oh no! I meant alive!
You didn't specify! He's back and he's an undead terror. Gurgi!
I feel like I'm left with just so many questions. Like, was Gurgi's sacrifice a permanent way of stopping the cauldron? Was it only a temporary way of stopping the cauldron? Now that Gurgi is back, has it regained its power? Just so many questions I feel are unanswered.
What do the witches want with it if it's useless now? Are they now a problem? I'm assuming this would all be explained in the further 3 books.
This movie was not bad. Are you telling me people actually didn't like this movie?
It underperformed at the box office, and looking at it now, like it is a bit light in certain parts of the story, but the way that it looks, I mean, it's an epic little quest and whatnot, and yeah, there was a few instances of dark imagery, but they were over like that. This isn't as horrible as I was made to think it was, but it is a little lacking. It is a little hollow. It looked great. It's not the worst Disney thing I've ever seen.
No, definitely not. Really, the only complaint is that the story isn't very good, but I can see how a good story could have just gotten shoehorned into this movie. So, the story of this movie, as Nathan said, is very hollow. Now, we're not saying that it was a bad movie, it was just a poorly executed story. The basic story is you have the main protagonist, Taran, and his job at the beginning of the movie is to care for a pig. You discover at the beginning of the movie that this is a magical pig who can grant magical visions to people. You also have the Horned King, who is the main antagonist of this film. Now, the Horned King is going throughout the realm of Prydain and looking for any magical items or any magical beings to aid him in his search for the Black Cauldron. This is why he wanted to kidnap the pig. Now, you do have other characters, but frankly, they don't really serve much of a purpose. You have the princess, which I guess she helps Taran to escape the dungeon and also serves as a love interest. You have the bard, who is just kind of tagging along. You have Gurgi, who at the very end sacrifices himself to put an end to the magic of the Black Cauldron. But honestly, if you were not paying close attention, you don't even know the names of some of these characters.
By the end, like I knew the hero's name was Taran, but certain characters' names, them being odd names, you have to hear them several times before you get them.
Like, for example, the Goblin.
Yeah, I don't know what his name was.
Exactly, me neither.
I feel like with something like this, you need to find a way to incorporate them in the dialogue more. I don't know. Maybe that's just my problem.
Oh, and not to forget about the last character, the pig. The pig might be a little confusing to explain because you have the main film of the Black Cauldron, the movie that we just watched, but we happen to have a DVD, and at the very end they showed a set of bonus features with, I guess, an extended animatic of scenes that they cut from the original film. We don't know if this was like a earlier script or this was something that they cut from the film for time, but it explains a lot. So, the pig, as I mentioned, is capable of providing magical visions. In the original film of the Black Cauldron, the pig is not necessary for the protagonist to find the location of the Black Cauldron. They simply ask the fairy folk, and the fairy folk happen to know where it is. In the extended animatics that they showed, that's not what happens. After the protagonists meet the fairy folk, they use the pig to get a magical vision of the location of the Black Cauldron so that they go and find it and destroy it before the Horned King gets there. And the fairy folk just happen to know the region. So this is how the fairy folk kind of get roped into the adventure as well. It's not that the fairy folk know the location of the Black Cauldron, they just happen to recognize the region from the pig's vision.
That scene actually offered a lot more context than the one they used.
The protagonists are able to find the Black Cauldron, the Horned King finds them and is able to take the Black Cauldron and use it. Gurgay sacrifices himself to put an end to the magic of the Black Cauldron, and the Horned King is destroyed. And at the very end, Gurgay is brought back to life and reunited with his friends. It's a Disney film, happy ending.
It feels like it's tropes only, and it left all of any possible character development or real narrative plot points in the novels that they were adapting. It feels like they just took the bare minimum of what was needed for the story and put this together.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, at the end when the protagonists escape the Horned King and are searching for the Black Cauldron, it is their actions that lead the Horned King to finding the Black Cauldron and to obtaining it. If they had never gone searching for the Black Cauldron, the Horned King may never have been able to find it. From the movie alone, it just feels like the Horned King was able to accomplish his goals because of the actions of the protagonists.
It does make me interested to read the first 2 books now of this series to see what was there and what's not there. Expanded upon, there was some fairly interesting stuff here. But because of the character models, like Taran is obviously, if he's not directly patterned after, he's closely resembles Wart, the young King Arthur character from Sword in the Stone.
That doesn't surprise me. I did notice that the 2 side characters, the guy at the beginning and the bard, seem to be patterned after the character model for the butler in the movie Aristocats. Alright, I think it's now time to give this film a rating. So Nathan, this film was not horrible as we had anticipated.
Yes, it was nowhere near as terrible as sources had led me to believe. I can see it be disappointing, but I don't know why it would have underperformed the way it did.
But it wasn't some hidden gemstone either. It just doesn't quite reach that excessive standard of being this ominous black magic cauldron spelling doom for the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's not terrible, it's just a little lacking. It was just falling short of being satisfyingly epic. And the rating shall be a pan of magic bacon.